Hello, this is a presentation to introduce the ideas from Teach First's publication from September 2024 called Tomorrow's Teachers, a roadmap to get Gen Z into the classroom. The report documents key findings around Gen Z, and you can find the links in this presentation to that report. One of the first things to highlight is the focus that Gen Z have when they're looking to find a job and what aspects are most important to them. I realise that this graph is fairly small on screen, but it highlights that Gen Z are particularly looking for good work-life balance, high long-term salary, and interest in engaging work are all coming up as those top priorities and things to bear in mind as we look to recruit our teachers for the future. And in your view, how soon after starting a new job would you expect your first promotion? You can see clearly here that there's an indicator of around 3 years. 85% are anticipating an opportunity for their first promotion. And the question here for us as educators is, how does that fit in with our structure and perhaps into our ECT 2-year and completing that, and then moving into that 3rd year, what opportunities could be provided? Of course, it's also worth noting that a significant amount anticipate a promotion within 3 years or above. So there's a realistic and pragmatic view to that, which is supported by the pathway of teaching. Now, in the report, there are 12 key findings, and again, I wouldn't expect you to be able to read this summary here on this image, but I'm going to talk about those 12 key findings and summarise that for you and give you an introduction so that you can further investigate by reviewing the full report. In particular, 73% of Gen Z said that teaching was a job that had purpose. And Gen Z want to make an impact. They're looking for the good work-life balance. They're also looking for ongoing development. Gen Z want variety in their careers. That's another essential part of their view around where they want to work. They also, encouragingly for us as educators, see teaching as being important to society. And Gen Z would consider teaching and recognise that they would anticipate enjoying it for a few years at least. They do, however, know that salary is considered to be poor, teaching is considered to be stressful, and recognise that schools lack funding. So what does Gen Z think of teaching as a career? Their key views are that it's stressful, it's rewarding, and it's difficult. They note, however, that it is important to society, and there are a significant pool of Gen Z who would consider teaching and recognise that they would enjoy teaching. They also, in some cases, recognise that teaching is a career for later rather than for now. On the positive, they recognise that teaching is around helping children to fulfil their potential and recognise that this would be an opportunity for them to focus on subject areas of interest to themselves by teaching that subject area. Negatives, however, as I've already said, are very much that teaching is considered to be stressful, salary is poor, and schools in general lack funding. So this is an overall view from a national study conducted by Teach First and their research department. Now, in the next slide, I'm sharing a graph, and I've selected just the top 3 from a following list of main disadvantages, which indicates and supports the points that I've just made. Again, the top disadvantage is that teaching is considered to be a stressful job, secondly with poor salary, and thirdly with schools lacking in funding. So then the report continues and talks in quite depth actually, around what could be done to get Gen Z into teaching. Firstly, salary is a significant factor in that contribution. So Teach First's recommendation is that increasing the salary for teachers to make it more competitive with other graduate professions will need to be a significant part of any plan to increase the recruitment that we're looking for from Gen Z. Work-life balance is the second point, And again, Teach First recommendations and notes are around increasing the flexibility and taking tangible steps to tackle workload, which are important for ensuring that Gen Z see teaching as both a respectable profession, but also as something that they will actively pursue because they do recognise the value of it. Gen Z want variety in their careers. So having the opportunity for diversifying, for flexibility, for Gen Z to explore different professions or experience different professions alongside teaching is a way to maximise that opportunity. Changes to material conditions is largely around reframing the conversation around the terms and conditions of a teacher to help to facilitate that. For example, considering the holiday arrangements for a teacher. And curriculum reform is that fifth point, and recognising that there is an ongoing review of curriculum and assessment to support that. So Teach First roadmap for teacher recruitment identifies 3 key steps. Firstly, a recruitment strategy and narrative for the 21st century, recognising this focus on work-life balance, on making a positive difference, but also on that need to be flexible in our working patterns. Secondly, improving financial incentives to recruit more teachers. And thirdly, recruiting more teachers by improving the conditions to improve the narrative around the story of what it's like to be a teacher and to work in education and work in schools. So some questions for us to consider as leaders of schools and of recruiters of Gen Z. A few key questions for you to consider. How can we shift the narrative to recruit Gen Z? What stories, what messaging do we need? What do you have to do to support well-being? What do you do to support workload? How can you provide that variety in role to give Gen Z that opportunity to explore different avenues in their working day and working life in order to be the best teachers they can be, but also see the value in staying within the profession? And following on from that, how can you retain Gen Z in their role? Some key questions there to focus on within your schools and with your ITT providers and with SLT, I'm sure. And we're also here to support you. So thank you for listening to this short summary. Do go ahead and look at the really interesting report that Gen Z, that Teach First have shared for Gen Z, and get in touch to continue the conversation with us here at Klein High Teaching School Hub. Thank you for listening.